The riskiest thing you could do right now is not to experiment with AI and think about it, how you integrate it in everything you do. I get a question a lot, which is, why is Forbes in so many hip-hop songs? And the reason I really think is because a couple things. One, Forbes is a one-word code for kind of success. Like, I made it myself.
For a long time, you always thought of Forbes as being the big business publication. Now Forbes is tackling a much more diverse set of topics. How do you define what Forbes' focus is and who the audience is?
It's a very smart question, because if you're everything to everybody, you're nothing. We're lucky in that.
Do you envision Forbes being primarily subscription-based moving forward, advertising-based events?
It's absolutely all the above. Forbes' strength is we've been able to weather a lot of these storms. For instance, during COVID, we didn't have any layoffs, we didn't have any furloughs, because we have a very diversified revenue base.
You did have cuts after COVID, though.
Yes, but
over the years, there's been so much drama around, are Forbes owners selling the place? Is the thing going public via a SPAC?
The drama, outside was a lot more than the drama inside. Inside, we're just doing our thing, and everything's for sale at a price. But right now, there is no process. There is no sale. Our ownership has said, you know what, guys, just focus on building the business, continue to grow the business.
All right. Thank you so much to everyone for being here, and thank you to Randall Lane, Chief Content Officer at Forbes, for doing this. Appreciate you.
Glad to be here with you.
So let's talk about Forbes from a very high level, and then we can dig into
all Forbes all morning. We had Conrad and Nina just now, so it's great to be here.
It's a Forbes alumni reunion.
And JJ, so it's great.
So let's talk about Forbes from a big picture lens, and then we can zoom in. I've covered Forbes for so many years, and over the years, there's been so much drama around, are Forbes owners selling the place? Is the thing going public via a SPAC? Is it getting taken over by a foreign investment group? What is the state of play today with Forbes ownership? Are they happy? Are they still trying to sell you? Where are things?
The drama, outside was a lot more than the drama inside. Inside, we're just doing our thing and continuing to make everything grow, and so it's been, again, we've seen that. A lot of it's been your good reporting, but inside, we're just doing our thing. Right now, part of it is we're lucky. Forbes is lucky. It's a great business, great brand. We do a good job, and there's a lot of interest in this, here and also abroad. And by the way, a lot of those deals you talked about, when you put when you have a foreign buyer on an asset that some people say is a national, security publication or asset, you're adding an extra layer. I think that's caused a lot of it. But right now, listen, everything's for sale. JJ, you offer JJ $20 million, he'll sell you a haymaker tomorrow. Where everything's for sale at a price, but right now there is no process, there is no sale. Our ownership has said, you know what, guys, just focus on building the business, continue to grow the business.
What does it mean to build the business? Because I know you've invested more in subscriptions than the paywall. Do you envision Forbes being primarily subscription based moving forward, advertising based events?
It's absolutely all the above, and that's not and we could go down each one, but part of the Forbes strength is we've been able to weather a lot of these storms. For instance, during COVID, we didn't have any layoffs, we didn't have any furloughs, we didn't have any pay cuts. We just rode through because we have a very diversified revenue base. You
did have cuts after COVID, though.
Yes, but even right now, relative to our peers, I think we're in great shape. And it's because we have a diversified revenue base. We have diversified editorial products, diversified not just in the platforms, but diversified in the audiences, and diversified in the markets. I mean, we're in 70 different countries. Licensing is a big business. The brand itself is a great business. It gives us the luxury, and it actually gives us the luxury to invest in the products, because we're not sitting here worrying about how we're going to make our number next quarter.
I definitely want to get to some of those product investments, especially around AI. But before I do, you mentioned licensing. Yeah. Forbes Marketplace is a huge part of your business. Yeah. How does that survive in an era where Google search results are going away?
What's beautiful, as the Chief Content Officer, I don't have to worry about that. That's
nice deflection.
And it's true, but listen, those guys have proven very good at figuring things out and riding waves. So if anyone's going to figure it out, they will. But again, that's not my area. And but I've watched them become very successful in their area.
In terms of product, you all have experimented with an AI chatbot. You obviously are much bigger now on the paywall. You're thinking about communities and more niche sort of membership subscriptions. What is the one product that is going to define Forbes' success moving forward?
That's a good question. There isn't one, but you mentioned AI out of the gate. The answer is AI, but it's not AI as a silo. Like, we're going to figure out AI and that's going to take care of it. AI is going to have to change every single one of every product in every market and how we think about it. And I'm sure everybody, that's true for everybody here. So it's really, if you say what's the one thing, less the one product than the one figuring out AI right now. This is one of those very, very rare instances in history when you know in real time that it's real. Where even the internet, it was the 90s, everyone's like, oh, it's the internet, oh. And then we had the crash, and then it came back, it was the internet. But, and then there was the dot-com crash, everyone's like, see, we're gonna go back to normal, and then it came. This is one where I don't care if it crashes, it's there. And this will change everything, and anybody who doesn't think like that right now, to be honest, is taking a risk. The riskiest thing you could do right now is not to experiment with AI and think about it, how you integrate it in everything you do.
What is your thoughts on whether or not media companies should strike deals with AI companies or sue them? I know you all had a little tit for tat with Perplexity at one point.
It kind of, and that was kind of me at the point of that, but it's because they were, we get amalgamation. What we did not get was when we had we are just like you, we're in the proprietary journalism business. That's our greatest, most valuable asset. And when they're taking our stories that only we have and summarizing them and not giving us credit, except if you take a magnifying glass to find that's, as we said, that's theft. And so we will stand up. We're part of the Cohere, the group that's suing Cohere. We will stand up and fight, but obviously there are lots of conversations going on. Again, it always comes down to the right thing to do is to align. Obviously, long term, this will figure itself out like every other transition does. But I think we've shown that when we're going to defend our journalism, we're going to defend our brand, but we're an innovative company. I think part of Forbes' success over the last 15, 20 years has been a willingness to innovate, a willingness to disrupt ourselves before somebody else disrupts us. And I guess it's true to the ethos of Forbes. We would be kind of hypocritical if we're sitting there putting out all these stories about, innovation is great, and here's how this person did it, if we didn't take a lot of that medicine ourselves. I think culturally, we're comfortable with that, and we're not sitting there going, we're going to fight everyone, take them down, but we're not saying we're going to cut whatever deal we could take and be happy about it. We're just trying to navigate the best way possible.
And then in terms of Perplexity, where did that ever end up? You never ended up suing them, correct?
It's somewhere in like all these things, it's a conversation that will play out. At the end of the day, all these things have to clear. They have to clear, and we're at a situation, we're in a period right now where we'll look back and there will be a new paradigm that has to work for everybody, or doesn't work. And I don't think it's actually in the AI company's interest to have long, expensive. They want, business loves, stability and knowing what the deal is. And I think right now we're all in this phase. We're all going to try to figure out together how to make all this work together with the AI companies. But listen, media companies can also become AI companies. I mean, they might not be AI platforms, and they might not be leaders in AI technology because it's so expensive but they can become AI companies. That, like everything else, the technology itself will be a commodity eventually. I mean, maybe it'll be 6 months or 6 years. We don't know what it is, but increasingly the technologies are a commodity. How do you use them? How do you create things that are new and cool that people love and that make your journalism that much more resonant and that much more, proliferate?
In terms of Forbes, your audience is a question to me. You said you're, spanning the globe, 70 countries. But it seems very broad. For a long time, you always thought of Forbes as being the big business publication. Now Forbes is tackling a much more diverse set of topics. How do you define what Forbes' focus is and who the audience is?
It's a very smart question, because if you're everything to everybody, you're nothing. we're lucky in that we're not really, and we never really have been, quote unquote, a business publication or business media company. It's always been about entrepreneurship, entrepreneurial capitalism, entrepreneurship, and that's a different. It's similar, but it's different. And if you think about it, being entrepreneurial has all sorts of applications everywhere. Like I just got back. I was in LA last week. We had our creators up front that we did with Walmart, where we have up fronts like you have television up fronts. We had for creators because we do a top creators list that you could ask your friendly neighborhood creator. They will tell you that this is the list they want to get on because it's based on metrics and numbers, and it's not just a popularity contest and et cetera. But creators, and we've seen a huge resonance with the creator community and with people who follow creators. Why? Because at the end of the day, a creator is an entrepreneur. He or she, it could be a one person business, or as they get bigger, it's one person, then it becomes 2 or 3, and then they have the people following them around, they have little teams. But you see the businesses they're creating, they're real media businesses. These people are the most some of the most entrepreneurial people in America. And we understand that, and they intuitively understand. It's the same reason that I get a question a lot, which is, why is Forbes in so many hip hop songs? And we kind of went, we're in like 150 hip hop songs. And the reason I really think is because a couple things. One, Forbes is a one-word code for kind of success. Like I made it myself. Nobody gave it to me. And that's also I think that resonates in the hip hop community and in the Black community, because there's hundreds of years of history of nobody giving them anything, or quite the opposite. And here we have a brand that says, you know what? No one's going to give you, if you want to be successful, you have to take it and make it. And so, and then again, it's an intuitive thing where, these communities feel at home, creators, hip hop, entertainers, because they understand that Forbes is a brand that celebrates that ethos and celebrates them and tries to give them the tools so that they can make it, versus wait for somebody to give them the contract, give them the recording contract, give them the platform. I'm going to go on YouTube, I'm going to make it, I'm going to be Mr. Beast myself. I'm not going to wait for some TV executive to tell me I could be famous.
Yeah, I think about that too in terms of the Forbes under 30 lists, or these lists that became synonymous with success in your young career. Question for you though on the lists. Like there's an argument to be made that the lists become dilutive over time as you keep expanding these franchises all over the globe, and now Forbes under 40 or under 50 or whatever. Like, when is enough enough?
We're always, listen, we kill a lot of lists. We kill lists, and like anything else, it's...
What have you killed?
What have we killed? Oh, that's a good question. We actually just did a cut last week, and actually, if you want, we will, in the next week or so, we're deciding what we do this every year. It's like, Schumpeter is the patron saint of Forbes, where creative destruction. You have to create things. Some things have to be put away, and so we're always looking for, is this thing ready? Because you're right. If you just do lists and lists, you have to look at what's resonating. You have to, and we could look at engagement. You look at traffic. You look at sponsorship. You look at all the metrics. But probably the most intangible is that cultural resonance, and you just know. And 30 under 30. It could be easy for us to say, okay, it's the same number, it's been the same number of people per year for, I think, 12 years, which is 30 and 20 categories. Listen, the cool thing would be to do 30 people and 30 categories. That would make a lot of sense. We just thought that was slicing the meat a little too fine, and we just stayed there, and we've stayed there. So it's the same amount of people being honored every year. We are going around the world, but I don't think that dilutes it. I think that just recognizes that are amazing people in other parts of the world, and you create a global community. And that actually I think there's a flywheel that actually it helps. It actually, doing more in that case enhances, because you're recognizing young entrepreneurship around the world versus saying, okay, we're done because, and so, 50 over 50 you just brought up as an example. That's different. That's an idea where actually it was Mika Brzezinski who came to me and said, you guys are celebrating all these young entrepreneurs, but what about these people who are having their best time over 50? And it was a cool idea. But we just focused on women, unlike 30 under 30, which is because 50 over 50 is basically the Senate or the corporate roundtable, the business roundtable. So in focusing on women, we're being a little bit counterintuitive. 30 under 30 is counterintuitive. You don't have to wait until you're 40 to start a company. In fact, we're seeing some, and we happen to catch it at the exact right time, where you had Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook and Spotify and all these things coming out of under 30 founders. And now with 50 over 50, it's the same thing. So, and what we do, again, to bring that together is we bring the 30 under 30 and the 50 over 50 women only. We convene them all every year for International Women's Day. We've done that event in Abu Dhabi for the last 4 years. It's an unbelievable gathering of two-way mentoring. And that's an example of saying, okay, that's another list. You got to do another list. But if we're thinking about it really creatively and holistically, well, we could have older women mentoring younger women, which is what a lot of young women want, but also the younger women are mentoring the older women. Here's how AI works. Here's how you can make your company a little more tech friendly. So
We have just a few seconds left, so one last question for you, Randall. We just talked a lot about lists and communities and creators, but when someone goes to your website to buy the actual journalism, what is, and give me only a sentence or two, what is the value proposition of paying for Forbes journalism outside of all of these lists and events and things like that?
We want as many people to get our journalism as possible, and so there is no hard paywall. We have a dynamic paywall that we designed ourselves, our team does, to have it both ways. So the super fans who want to dig deep, they have a relationship with us, and we make sure it's worth their while, or else they don't renew. And on the flip side, everybody can come and get, you want to see who's on the 30 and 30, you can come. So we're not an all or nothing where there's some folks that want a free site and other folks that want a paywall site. We have figured out, and it's working for us, we're up, I think, 30% sub-revenue this year. We figured out that having it, there are ways, you can have it both ways, Sarah, and we're going to continue to do that.
Excellent. And just to review some of the things we talked about today, I asked, where are your owners right now? Do they feel the need to get you offloaded and sell the company? And you said no. Everyone seems pretty happy with where you are right now, which is a welcome change, I assume, from all of the chaos in the past few years. You all are in 70 different countries. It's very diversified. You talked about that diversified revenue base, 30% subscriptions this year. We talked about change in products. AI will have a fundamental change across everything. When it talks about AI deals, you're part of that Cohere lawsuit. You've put that pressure on Perplexity, but you still have made investments in AI. I think what you said is that it's a risk not to experiment with AI these days. And then, I think just the fact that Forbes has become so synonymous with success, 150 mentions in hip-hop songs really stood out to me about the value of your brand. So everyone, thank you to Randall Lane. A round of applause.
Who needs AI to this when you got Sarah here? So thank you.